The man before you just made what he thought was a harmless joke. But little did he know, the system would take his joke literally, and on a godlike scale. In just a single moment, the massive logistics structure that sustained human civilization vanished into thin air. But when he took a closer look, this ruined city had become his own personal domain. What was once a world-shattering disaster instantly became this man's first step toward dominating the world. Not long ago, I was just your average, run-of-the-mill logistics sorter. My daily work was either logging item information for sorting, or chatting with the robot, Pax. Unfortunately, the robots here are complete blockheads. All they see are packages, they have no concept of human warmth. And in this logistics center, there are thousands more robots just like that. It made me, for a split second, regret ever coming to work for this company. 2 months ago, I had just been discharged from the military. I had a large sum of savings, so I didn't have to worry about food or drink. I also had an apartment with 6 months rent paid for by my parents. You could say life was pretty carefree. Just when I thought I could get a job at a coffee shop, earn some money, and maybe find a nice romance. The harsh reality of the world hit me like a ton of bricks. I went to countless shops. But the answer was always that they only hired people with experience. The whole situation felt just like what college graduates are going through this year trying to find work. And so, I spent over a month looking for a job. The countless rejections left me mentally and physically exhausted. I felt like one of the living dead every day. But thankfully, my persistence paid off. My number one sister recommended a delivery company. It gave my desperate situation a glimmer of hope. What was that delivery company called? So, 9:37 p.m. And that's how I ended up here. However, it's not like there were no other living people in this fully automated logistics company. Take Section Chief Shin here, for example. He loves to use his position to make me do all the dirty and tiring jobs. This time, Section Chief Shin wanted me to go find some tuna. He said they were out of stock. Even though I was filled with resentment, for the sake of this job, I could only swallow my anger. Soon, I arrived at the warehouse where all sorts of items are stored. And in just 2 seconds, I found where the tuna was. Just then, the main door suddenly slammed shut. I was completely baffled. The enclosed space made me panic instantly. I quickly pulled out my phone to call Section Chief Shin, but all I heard from the other end was a cold, automated voice. The number you have dialed is temporarily unavailable. This just made me feel helpless. But then I thought, well, it's not a cold storage freezer, so I guess I can just wait it out. So I sat down and started chatting with the girls in my group chat. But as we were talking, their voices disappeared. I took a closer look and saw that my signal was gone. The very next second, a violent tremor ran through the ground. I was so shocked I almost dropped my phone. An alarm immediately started blaring. All employees, please evacuate to the unloading bay immediately. An enclosed space. A shaking ground, a blaring alarm. All of this gave me a really bad feeling. So I immediately started banging on the door for help. But there was no response. No, actually, something did respond. To be more precise, there was some kind of strange creature on the other side, pounding on the door. The sturdy door was actually being dented inwards, and terrifying screams could be heard from time to time. Right then, I realized I absolutely couldn't make another sound. Otherwise, there would only be one outcome, and that was death. The creature outside was definitely not human, but a terrifying monster. And so, I spent 3 days in the warehouse. Luckily, there was plenty of food in the warehouse. Whenever I got hungry, I ate canned food. When I was thirsty, I drank bottled water. During this time, the monster outside was gone, but no one came to rescue me either. I don't know if there was a war or something, but being trapped here actually saved my life. I don't know how much longer I can last. My phone is about to die anyway. I should at least leave a final message, right? As I started typing on my phone, suddenly, a mechanical voice appeared in my mind, and a pop-up window immediately appeared before my eyes. You have been selected. Please confirm your awakened ability. This left me a bit stunned. What the heck is this? Before I could think much about it, the pop-up window changed in an instant. It clearly displayed that my ability seemed to be the power to store objects in front of me into a subspace. Isn't this a load of crap? Looks like I've really gone crazy. If I could really store anything, then how about I store the entire PAX Logistics Center? The moment the words left my mouth, with a thump, the surrounding buildings really vanished. It left me standing there, stunned. What's going on? I'm out? But why is everything outside in ruins? That cold voice appeared again. Beginning storage. Next second, I felt my stomach turn inside out. It felt like something was being crammed into my brain. After a long while, I gradually got used to it. And just then, a huge shadow appeared beside me. This was definitely not a human shadow. At that moment, only one word was in my mind. Run. Without a second's hesitation, I bolted. As I ran, I was desperately screaming for help. The monster was clearly enraged by my actions. It caught up to me in just 2 steps. I cursed inwardly. What the hell is this thing? How can it run so fast? Just as the demi-human was about to grab me, a door suddenly appeared right in front of me. When I opened my eyes again, that door had somehow separated me from the demi-human. I was a little confused. Can't it get in? Unexpectedly, the PAX system responded to me. That's right. Without the true approval of the subspace's master, no living beings, objects, or energy can enter or leave this place. Isn't this PAX? How is it here? Could it be? To confirm the suspicion in my heart, I turned my head to look, and sure enough, I saw that familiar logistics center. Along with mountains of supplies. That pop-up window wasn't lying after all. Really stored the entire PAX FC. Congratulations on entering the subspace for the first time. Reward: 1 magic stone. The moment the voice finished, a glowing stone appeared right before my eyes. Then, the pop-up window continued to explain. Current PAX Logistics Center level, 1. Total area exceeds 10,000 square meters. Shipping speed, 60 kilometers per hour. Shipping size limit, 2 meters. Remaining operational time, 2 minutes. I was a bit surprised after reading that. So how'd I increase the operational time? Parks replied, you can use the magic stones you possess. Provide energy for the facilities inside the subspace. You currently have 1 magic stone. It can power the subspace for 24 hours. I see, so that's what the magic stones are for. Hey, Parks, how'd I get more magic stones? You can obtain them by eliminating beings from other worlds. Beings from other worlds. Looks like it's referring to that thing outside. Whatever, I'll supply the power first. It would be bad if the food spoiled. With that thought, I took the only magic stone I had and gave it to Parks. Barely a second passed, and the power came back on. Alright, next up, I found some weapons to deal with the orc, but the inventory was low. Looks like I'll have to use them sparingly. After all, the stock is limited. With that, I took out a small hatchet, wound up, and hurled it. The attack didn't seem to do much damage. It just scraped off a layer of its skin. That started to make me panic. At this rate, I'd probably use up all the weapons before I could kill it. Right now, there's only 1 axe in the box, and maybe 2 more in storage. Parks, how many axes are left in the inventory? Without a hint of hesitation, Parks replied, there are currently 15 axes in stock. That confused me. I even thought the machine was broken. Because I clearly remember that the first batch of axes I took out was a set of 15. Not wanting to believe it, I decided to go back and search again. And sure enough, there were still 15 axes. Parks explained, that's because the items here are generated by converting physical objects into information. Therefore, they can be replicated. Although they might get damaged or warped, they will never run out. As soon as he said that, it all clicked. In other words, this place is actually a logistics center with an infinite inventory. Doesn't that mean I can throw as many axes as I want? I don't even need to think about tactics. But if I keep throwing them, my shoulder would definitely pop out of its socket. Parks then said, you don't have to throw them yourself. You can choose to have the items automatically shipped outside the subspace. However, you can only ship 1 item every 30 seconds. You can shorten the time by upgrading your skill. Well, in that case, doesn't that make things easy? Let's give it a try. Ship. Almost the instant I spoke, a hatchet accurately slammed into the orc's head. That move completely blew my mind. Wait a minute, what the hell is up with that speed? How is it so fast? Parks explained, that's because the current shipping speed is set to 60 kilometers per hour. You can also adjust it. At your current level, the maximum speed you can reach is 75 kilometers per hour. That really blew me away. But with this shipping skill, at least my safety is guaranteed. Next, I changed into some military equipment, a euro, tactical combat boots and all. I got my tactical pants on, and with all preparations complete, I spread out a map and started planning my route. First, I'd go to Gangnam. Next would be Yuljiro, then Dabong district. Finally, I'd reach my parents in Uijeongbu. This was the shortest route I could map out. As for my transportation, all I had was an old-fashioned bicycle that cost 1.89 million won. That was already pretty good. At least it was better than nothing. Once I was ready, I set off immediately. I just hoped everyone was safe. 30 minutes later, I had already biked 2.5 kilometers. During that time, I had hunted down 12 orcs. And in the process of hunting them, I came to understand 2 things. The first was about my own ability. Before, I was probably in such a panic that I couldn't pay attention to these things. But after I calmed down and studied it carefully, I discovered my ability was basically like having a cheat code. Although the accuracy can be low and there's a cooldown time, and a range limit of 10 meters, as long as I collect magic stones to upgrade it, these problems can be fixed. What's more, Pack's ability isn't just dispatch. It also has a retrieval skill that automatically collects dispatched items. This skill, just like dispatch, is incredibly convenient to use. Though for ordinary items like axes, there's really no need to retrieve them. Oh, right, I don't know what the principle behind it is, but this Pack's skill can even retrieve magic stones. In any case, it's really convenient for me. At least I don't have to dissect the orcs myself. As for the other thing, it's that besides orcs, the monsters that have appeared in this world, include many other extraordinary creatures. For example, that wyvern in the sky that just caught a river deer. It looked like something you don't want to mess with. Just then, a deafening cry for help rang out in the distance. As a retired soldier, I couldn't just ignore a scene like that, so I quickly pedaled my clunky bike over. The next thing you know, I dispatched 2 axes and sent that wyvern to hell to meet its maker. The 2 of them were stunned by this absurd feat. A single axe had that much power? They immediately bowed to me in gratitude. Thank you so much, Mr. Soldier. Seeing that they had the wrong idea, I quickly pointed to the logo on my clothes to show that I wasn't a soldier. But from the looks on their faces, they didn't seem to believe me. It didn't really matter, though. I then asked them what they were doing here. The man didn't hide anything. There was no need to. You probably know this, but Building C has a logistics center. A lot of people gathered there, but that also attracted a ton of monsters. So, a lot of people died. Some were killed in attacks, and others were eaten by monsters. I think about 15 or 16 people died. The survivors are all trapped in the basement of the Building E freight station, where there are fewer monsters. We came from there. We were originally trying to find a road that cars could use and look for some daily necessities. But because the logistics center suddenly disappeared. Anyway, more importantly, why don't you come with us? I can't guarantee anything else, but at least you'll get a safe night's sleep. After hearing him out, I hesitated. Model. To be honest, this is the apocalypse. I can't possibly trust anyone, especially people I've just met. But he did just mention a place with working vehicles, so maybe they have a car. Besides, I'm not short on food or a place to sleep right now. What I am short on is information, and a means of transportation. I can't even steal one. So, I agreed to their request. And even if they are hostile, I can just escape to the subspace. It probably won't be too dangerous, right? Before long, we arrived at their shelter. But the man standing before me sent a shiver down my spine. Why'd I get such a dangerous feeling from him? The man asked with a serious expression, "Who are you? I've never seen you before." Old Kui quickly introduced me. He saved us when we were being chased by flying dragons. He said he used to work at PAX FC. But he's incredibly strong. He took down a flying dragon with just an axe. As soon as he said that, everyone started murmuring. They were almost all discussing my abilities. However, it didn't seem to be the kind of hostility I expected. Instead, they were incredibly welcoming. This threw me for a loop. Could it be that everything in the movies is a lie? Or is it just that the apocalypse has just begun, and people haven't become wary yet? It's surprising, isn't it? We've all worked together for over 10 years. So, Yang-Su and Byung-Chul are no different from family to us. Oh, right, I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I'm Lee Jin-Mok, the manager of Daehyun Express. Thank you so much for saving Yang-Su and Byung-Chul. He then bowed deeply. This really caught me off guard. Hello, my name is Kim Yoon-Guillaume. After we were introduced, Lee Jin-Mok started showing me around. He also shared a lot of information. Right now, all the roads are blocked. The north is blocked by a golf course, and the east is blocked by shipping containers. To the south, the road has collapsed. So the only way out is through the tunnel to the west. But that tunnel happens to be occupied by a swarm of flying dragons. But you don't have to worry about food and water. We have a lot stored up. If we run out, we can go get more from the logistics center. As soon as he finished, Yang-Su spoke up hesitantly. Manager, I think the logistics center is gone. And there's no trace of it left. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. The entire logistics center just vanished? Is that even possible? Yang-Chul also explained, it's because the logistics center disappeared. That we were attacked by the flying dragons. His words really made me feel a bit uneasy. Just as everyone was starting to worry, Lee Jin-Mok stood up. Everyone, don't lose hope. We'll just move up our plan and start clearing the tunnel now. After all, just staying here will only lead to a worse situation. Faced with this sudden turn of events, I didn't rush into anything. You could say there was no need to reveal my abilities in front of them. Although everyone is very friendly, there's one thing I can't ignore. Although they said they had a lot of food and water stored up, they didn't tell me exactly how much. In other words, once the food runs out, they will definitely turn on each other. If necessary, I still need to scout things out on my own. After thinking it through, I told Lee Jin-Mok. I told him I wanted to scout ahead alone. Lee Jin-Mok was very understanding of my desire not to reveal my abilities. So I agreed, but Yang-Su was still a little worried about my safety. So he set off with me. I was originally against it. But Yang-Su's awakened driver ability is just too powerful. He can even make an old bike whoosh through the air. Of course, if any wyverns appeared along the way, then I would be the one to deal with them. So we arrived at our destination pretty quickly. But the atmosphere felt off. When I took a closer look, we were actually surrounded by a pack of wyverns. Seeing this, Yang-Su thought to himself that this was probably the end for them. What good was a bicycle now? In contrast, I just calmly opened my system panel and spent 710 magic stones to shorten the cooldown time for a shipment. Yang-Su was a bit confused about what I was doing. But before he could think too much about it, the wyverns charged straight at us. But the next second, several axes flew out and struck the wyverns' heads with perfect accuracy. When Xianxia opened his eyes again, the scene before him absolutely made his jaw drop. Not because the wyvern's attack had failed, but because of the entire logistics center that had appeared behind me. After witnessing my power, the remaining surviving wyverns all fled in terror. After a long while, Xianxia slowly got to his feet. Your ability is insane. To think you can launch axes like they're bullets. With an ability like this, you could clear the tunnel all by yourself, couldn't you? I secretly glanced at Xianxia. He'd actually guessed right. My original plan was to observe the situation for a bit, and if I was confident, I would try to clear the tunnel secretly. I never intended to show you my ability. As soon as I said that, even if Xianxia was dense, he knew he had gotten in my way. He hurriedly bowed and apologized, which made me a bit flustered. So I changed the subject and prepared to move on, watching my figure grow smaller in the distance. Xianxia seemed to be thinking about something. After a long moment, he asked me where my next destination was. I didn't hide it and answered truthfully, Weizhongbu. This gave Xianxia a flash of inspiration. He then slowly replied, I need to go to Indiaguan. If you go through Gangnam, you'll pass right by it. If you don't mind, could I travel with you as far as Indiaguan? I was a bit stunned when I heard that. This was a brilliant idea. Xianxia's driving ability was undeniable, but more than that, I could use this as a way to hide my ability from everyone else. If they all found out about my power, there's no telling what they might do. Though it's possible I'm just overthinking it. But in the worst case scenario, my personal safety would definitely be at risk. Besides, along the way, I'd also gotten a good look at Xianxia's character. He's a trustworthy person. Alright, then until we get to Indiaguan, I'll leave the driving to you. But I still have to clear the tunnel alone. Other people might get in my way. And I don't want my ability to be exposed. After hearing this, Xianxia didn't hesitate for a second. He immediately agreed to help hide my ability and convince his teammates. So, sometime later, Xianxia was passionately explaining to the group that I would be using my ability to clear the tunnel alone. We just need to wait outside. I know you're all probably curious about his ability. But please, don't ask too many questions. This whole move completely dumbfounded me. I thought we were keeping it a secret. Why did you tell everyone everything? This is bad. I was already someone they should be wary of. But now I'm saying something so unbelievable. Well, what's done is done. I guess I'll just have to go for it. Tomorrow morning, I'll clear the tunnel so everyone can get through safely. After hearing this, everyone started murmuring again, which made me really nervous. Wouldn't be good if they got any funny ideas about me. Just as I was thinking about all this, Li Jinmak spoke up, interrupting my thoughts. I won't ask about your abilities, nor am I curious about them. After all, you made this decision with us in mind. If staying out of your way is the best way to help, then we'll wait outside obediently tomorrow. But please, take this food. It's a small token of our gratitude. Seeing this, I was stunned, to think they would just give away such scarce food like that. On top of that, they all bowed deeply to thank me. At that moment, I knew I was wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. They were just like me. They were all dreaming of the day they could reunite with their families. But I, because of some movie plot, had viewed them with suspicion. I'm truly ashamed. To celebrate being able to escape and see their families tomorrow, everyone threw a party that night. But as everyone kept drinking, they all ended up getting drunk. They started pouring out how much they missed their families. I was moved by the scene. Maybe it was also because of my earlier guilt, but I prepared 15 carloads of supplies for them. This way, they could live securely in this apocalypse. The next day, I grabbed my small axe, got on my old-fashioned bicycle, and headed into the tunnel. Everyone watched with worried eyes as my figure slowly disappeared into the distance. But my expression was resolute as I stared straight ahead, determined. As soon as I entered the tunnel, a few wyverns were lying in wait. But I wasn't flustered at all. I slipped into my subspace and took them out one by one. I really wanted to use the subspace to get everyone through the tunnel, but Parks said, my current level isn't high enough to carry other people. If I leveled up to 2, it could hold 20 people. But to raise the subspace's level, I need 100 magic stones, and there were only about 40-something wyverns in this tunnel at most. Not to mention, some of them got away. Looks like I'll have to figure something out after I get out of here. After finishing off the remaining wyverns, I slowly rode my bicycle out of the tunnel. It was covered in splatters of blood, which made everyone watch with extreme nervousness. But hey, all this blood belonged to the wyverns. It had nothing to do with me. I returned safely. This meant that all the wyverns had been wiped out. So, next up, it was time for everyone to go their separate ways. Time to go home. At that moment, I suddenly said, oh, right. If you run into any danger on your way back, open up the car compartments. I've prepared some small gifts for you. After saying that, Xianxia and I set off for the Gangnam district. After driving for a while, things started to appear on the road. The bodies of monsters and soldiers. It made me sigh. Good thing I got discharged early. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up just like them. After driving for a while longer, a gate blocked our path. It looked like something the military set up to hold back the monsters, but from the looks of it, it didn't work. Just then, a horde of monsters appeared at the far end of the bridge. The sight of them was terrifying. They looked like speed-type monsters. Just as Xianxia was about to turn around and find another way, a brilliant idea suddenly popped into my head. A way to possibly kill them all in one fell swoop. Use the narrow gap of the pedestrian walkway. It would funnel the monsters into a tight space, and then I could use my side-by-side refrigerators to lay down some suppressing fire. Basically, one fridge could take out a whole group of them. All I had to do was stand back and wait to collect the magic stones. I have to say, this whole thing reminded me of that game, Cosmic Bamboo Shoot Strategy. Meanwhile, Xianxia, who was up ahead, was completely stunned by what I was doing. What in the world? He's launching refrigerators? I thought he could only use an axe. And he keeps launching the exact same model. I know we were at a logistics center, but could there really be that many of the same item in stock? Even if he's retrieving them, the ones he's launching are all brand new. How is he doing that? If I'm not mistaken, Jung Guillaume, do you have an infinite inventory? I'm just curious. Yeah, you didn't know? Xianxia probably already had 7 different theories in his head, but hearing me confirm it, he was still shocked into silence. It took him a long while to finally snap out of it. Seriously? You have such a godlike ability. And here I was, looking all tragic while sharing my food with you. I just smiled faintly. Actually, I'm just grateful that you all were willing to trust me. If you ever need anything, just let me know. Xianxia shook his head, saying he didn't need anything for the time being. The only thing he wanted right now was to go home and see his family. But I saw right through him. Are you sure you want to see your family looking like that? After hearing me, Xianxia gave a weary smile. I guess you have a point. And so, 5 minutes later, he emerged wearing a cool new outfit. I have to say, after changing his clothes, he seemed like a completely different person. With a seriously cool maneuver, the truck shot forward with lightning speed, nearly throwing me right out of it. 20 minutes later, we finally made it to our destination. The district looked so dilapidated, probably because it was an old neighborhood to begin with. The monster attacks just made it look even more run down. But on our way here, we didn't seem to see any bodies around. That could mean there are fewer monsters in this area, so there's a good chance Xianxia's family is safe. But it wasn't a 0% chance, either. So as Xianxia reached for the door, his hand began to tremble. He just couldn't bring himself to open it. I could see the worry in his eyes. So, I offered to ring the doorbell for him. Xianxia knew he didn't have the courage, so he could only nod in agreement. Just as I was about to press it, the door swung open on its own. A woman and a small child stepped out. It looked like they were Xianxia's wife and daughter. The moment they saw each other, they rushed into each other's arms, crying tears of joy. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel happy for them. But, my eyelids started to feel heavy. The next second, my vision blurred, and I collapsed to the ground. No, I can't fall asleep here. But in my dream, I just couldn't hold on any longer. I think I saw a memory from the past. My dad would tell me, parting ways doesn't just leave you with sadness. Instead, you remember all the different feelings you had with that person. Feelings like regret, and gratitude, guilt, longing, things like that. So you don't have to be sad when you say goodbye. For me, it was more gratitude than sadness. Because your grandma taught me what the essence of love is. It's to love someone without asking for anything in return. I know that's probably hard for you to understand right now. But you'll get it when you're older. Whether you want to receive love, or give love, neither is a simple thing. When I grew up, I really did understand. It's just, was that way of showing love a little wrong? Especially when it came to my second sister. She actually used me as her personal punching bag. But hey, even a sister like her could be really impressive, you know? That year, I was trying to protect a classmate, and ended up getting beaten up with them. It was my second sister who showed up just in time to save me. But ever since then, it was like she had me in her sights. Every single day, if I wasn't training, I was on my way to train. But thanks to that, I qualified for enlistment. Still, when it was time to leave, I was a little sad to go. And that's where the dream ended. I woke with a start. The unfamiliar surroundings made me feel extremely uneasy. I quickly summoned a small hatchet from subspace. But when I turned around, all I saw was a mother and daughter, eating with innocent looks on their faces. Well, that was awkward. I quickly made the hatchet disappear. Then I asked, how long was I asleep? The woman held up 3 fingers. Not long, only about 3 hours or so. After she said that, the woman bowed to thank me, which made me flustered. I waved my hands, telling her there was no need to be so formal. Just then, Xianxia woke up, so the woman started clearing the table, getting ready for the 2 of us to eat. A few minutes later, a bowl of piping hot stewed soury appeared in front of me. Just looking at it made my mouth water uncontrollably. Since being discharged, this was the first time I'd seen such a fragrant meal. I took one bite, and I felt my soul ascend. This was a true feast for the senses. That rich aroma, unique to soury. There was even a hint of warmth to it. No, it was the taste of a mother's cooking. After we finished eating, Yang Su brought up a new topic. Kim Jung-Guillaume, you said you needed to go to Gangnam District, right? I can take you. I was a bit stunned by his offer. He was just reunited with his family. Why would he still want to help me? We went outside to talk more. Actually, I have one condition. We take this truck to Gangnam. Then, after we get there, you just have to get me an electric bike for the ride back. I didn't quite understand his reasoning. But why would he do that? With his driving skills, he could definitely outrun most of the monsters. But no matter how good a driver he was, it's dangerous everywhere outside, not to mention he now has food and supplies. He's also been reunited with his family. Logically, there's no reason for him to take any more risks. Instead of racking my brain, I just went ahead and asked him why. Do I need a reason for this? You helped me too, didn't you? You even saved my life. If you hadn't helped me back then, I definitely wouldn't have been reunited with my family. I probably wouldn't have even made it through the tunnel. I would have been dead by now. So, I just want to do what I can to help you. Even though you've awakened a very good ability, you must get tired sometimes, right? Like how you collapsed on the ground today. So, isn't it good for us to help each other? Although I can't really say I've helped you with much. But you don't have to worry too much. If things go south, I'll definitely run away immediately. After all, I'm not stupid enough to throw my life away. Or abandon my family. I let out a soft sigh. What a kind-hearted man you are, Yang Su. If you want to help me, then I have a condition. First, you have to take me to Weijiangbu, until I'm reunited with my family. Second, you can't come alone. After my subspace was upgraded, it can let other people in. In other words, if you really want to come with me, you have to bring your family. Since you're coming with me to save my family, I have to protect your family as well. Right? Yang Su lowered his head and gave a small smile. Then he put on those sunglasses he wears to look cool. Let's head out right away. Alright, time to upgrade the spaces level. Subspace has successfully been upgraded to level 2. Capacity has been expanded to a maximum of 20 people. Can store the object in front of you. Remaining uses. Grant permission for Oji Su, Li Yu Zheng, and Li Yang Su to enter the space? I smiled calmly. Access granted. After receiving my authorization, Yang Su's family of 3 walked into the subspace. As soon as they entered, everyone gasped in amazement. They knew the distribution center was big, but seeing it with their own eyes still filled them with a sense of wonder. I can't believe there's such a huge space behind a single door. Then, I told Yang Su and his family to rest for a bit. If you need anything, ask Pax. We're leaving in 30 minutes. He didn't object and hurriedly thanked me again. Alright, next up, I should properly study my ability. The subspace ability. It can, according to my will, take an object in front of me and put it into the subspace, and I can enter and exit as I please. Without my permission, nothing can enter the subspace. Perhaps that was my original ability. But after I put the distribution center into the subspace, as Pax combined with the Awakening System's operating framework, my ability went from simply opening and closing the subspace to generating multiple skills. The most iconic one is that ridiculously fast shipping skill. I originally thought that even if I upgraded the subspace, it wouldn't add any new abilities. But what is this skill? Could it be that besides Pax FC, I can put other things into the subspace? Not only that, but there's a new feature that allows items registered in the subspace to be a laboratory for combining, classifying, or modifying things. As much as I wanted to test this skill, unfortunately, I didn't have enough magic stones to unlock it. So, the only skill I could test right now was the storage skill. The first time I put Pax into the subspace, I did it unconsciously. But if I had to say what I really wanted to put into the subspace, it would be the Earth. I knew it was a huge gamble. If it worked, I could solve everything at once. After a long moment, the system's voice slowly announced. Ding! Earth storage failed. The target object exceeds storage capacity. Well, how should I put this? It wasn't entirely unexpected. If I could actually store the entire Earth, that would be just insane. Just then, Yang Su arrived at the scheduled time, and the two of us planned out the route. I have complete faith in Yang Su's skills, so I left all the route planning to him. It's just, I had a really bad feeling. It felt like something terrible was about to happen. This made me subconsciously glance over at Yang Su, who was smiling mysteriously. Don't worry, even though I can only help while driving, at least I won't lose to anyone when it comes to speed. With that, he suddenly slammed on the accelerator and sped off. A long time later, we arrived at a road that was the only way to get to City A, but it looked like a roadblock had been set up here. And it was a military-grade roadblock. Yang Su asked, looking confused. Could there be an army unit nearby? But my expression changed as I looked in the rearview mirror. No, I think we were wrong. The vehicles and weapons are definitely military, but the people, not so much. Just in case, I had Yang Su enter the subspace. I chose to stay behind and deal with them alone. And things went just as I expected. They weren't soldiers after all, but a group of bandits disguised as military personnel. Without a word, they knocked me out with a single punch and threw a sack over my head. I don't know where they took me. All I know is that when I opened my eyes again, I was in an unfamiliar office. Besides the two bandits, there was an injured soldier lying on the floor. It looked like he was on his last legs. Then, I learned from their leader's words that this was a command and communications headquarters. There were no orcs or other monsters here, but there were countless wyverns. They came out to hunt right on schedule. And among this flock of wyverns, there was one that stood out, several times larger than the others. Just then, I thought of a brilliant plan. Perhaps this was the perfect time to use that storage ability. No sooner said than done. In the next second, the entire command and communications headquarters vanished into thin air. This left everyone exposed outside. You can imagine what happened next. What awaited them was the judgment of the wyverns. As for me, I took the opportunity to grab the soldier and hide in the subspace. Inside the subspace, Xianxia and I quickly moved the injured man onto a bed. From the looks of him, he'd probably been tortured. That, combined with long-term malnutrition, was why he was unconscious. Giving him something nutritious should be enough. Well then, it was about time to check out the military headquarters I'd stored. I didn't think much of it at first, but when I saw it, I was completely shocked. Is the entire military command center really this big? I only remember being blindfolded back then, so I had no idea. I never expected it to be so vast. A command center this big. I bet it has tons of guns and ammunition. But this place isn't like the logistics center. Using it is probably going to be a hassle. At the logistics center, Parks would automatically prepare my supplies. I could even transport things out. But this isn't a logistics center. In other words, I have to come and get everything I need myself. And I have to remember all the locations. What a pain. It's even bigger than Parks. And more importantly, the military supplies here, unlike at the logistics center, can't be used indefinitely. Just as I finished that thought, Parks appeared and interrupted, explaining that it manages the entire subspace. So the military command is basically just a warehouse. That was a bit of a surprise, I have to say. If that's the case, then doesn't that mean all that ammunition and those firearms can be infinitely replicated? That's completely overpowered. Since the ammo and guns are unlimited, then what comes next should be easy. All we have to do is aim at the wyverns outside, and unleash a fierce barrage of fire. Afterward, the sound of machine guns echoed across the sky. The outside looked as if it was being devoured by a giant serpent of fire. After a long while, all the wyverns were down. But I had a strange, unsettling feeling. So we decided to send a dummy out to check. And just as I expected, the moment the dummy went out, a giant dragon claw stabbed right through it. Then, it revealed its terrifying face. It was the larger wyvern. The wyvern realized it had been tricked, and a furious roar echoed across the sky. I told Xianxia to open fire immediately. This monster was definitely no pushover. Instantly, another blaze of fire erupted. Under such a fierce assault, a cloud of smoke rose up all around it. But, as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's no damage. Sure enough, the wyvern was completely unharmed. Since the firearms aren't working, let's try grenades. Instantly, grenades rained down on the wyvern like a storm. I originally thought that no matter how tough its hide was, it couldn't withstand such a dense bombardment. But I was wrong. This wyvern wasn't just tough, it had some kind of barrier blocking the attacks. Fortunately, the wyvern was intelligent. Seeing that it couldn't get to us, it wisely turned and left. Seeing the wyvern depart, I couldn't help but let out a quiet sigh of relief. If that had dragged on, we probably wouldn't have been able to move forward. Next up, after resting for a while, we packed light and continued on our way in the military pickup truck. On the road, to prevent a situation like that from happening again, I decided to use magic stones to enhance my skills. The result, however, truly surprised me. My magic stone count had reached 7,314. What the hell? When did I save up so many? Could it be that that wyvern had a ton of magic stones? Whatever, no point thinking about it now. First, I'll upgrade my abilities. With that said, I took my dispatch skill, and upgraded it all the way. Now I can dispatch 4 items per second. Plus, its range was extended from 25 meters to 750 meters. After finishing the upgrade, I still had 189 left, so I had plenty to spare. Well then, it's about time to unlock the subspace laboratory. After unlocking it, so I went to the subspace to check the instruction manual, and Parks gave me a quick rundown. This subspace can be used to modify anything, like, for example, doubling a magazine's capacity. After listening to Parks's explanation, a great idea suddenly popped into my head. Something more powerful than a bomb, but without any of the collateral damage. Meanwhile, Xianxia, who was outside, had run into a problem. The road was blocked again, but this time it wasn't a simple barricade. It was a massive pile of cars, and it didn't look like we could break through it easily. So, Xianxia quickly called for me to come out and see if I had a solution. Seeing the situation, I just smiled calmly. This is the perfect opportunity. The weapon I just developed will come in handy. With that, Parks launched a few indescribable objects, which instantly obliterated the entire barricade of cars. That's right, what I created was an Italian cannon, forged from countless 20-kilogram dumbbells. This move completely stunned the guards on duty. Before they could even react, our car drifted into a sharp turn and stopped perfectly right in front of the two of them. Hello, excuse me, is Nurse Kim Ju-Yeon here? Kim Ju-Yeon, my older sister. Her dream was to become a nurse. At first, when my other sister and I heard the news that she was going to start studying hard for it, we were both in complete disbelief. We even called our mom over to see what was wrong with her. But my older sister, with a radiant smile, just said she had finally found her dream. How was that even possible? This was a woman who couldn't even sit still for 30 minutes without feeling like she was going to die. How could she be so different all of a sudden? But as it turned out, my older sister wasn't just all talk. She actually took action and, in the end, legitimately got into nursing school. After that, I enlisted, so I hadn't seen her since. Seeing her again after all these years, especially after the tension of the last few months, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears started streaming down my face before I even realized it. We hugged each other tightly, crying tears of joy. After a long while, we finally calmed down. I introduced Xianxia to her, and after that, my sister wanted to look for some food, but I stopped her. I told her treating a patient was our top priority right now. The moment she heard the word patient, my sister's eyes lit up. She was instantly energized, as if she'd had a shot of adrenaline. I had to tell her to calm down and said we needed to find a quiet place first. My sister understood completely and quietly led us inside. Once I saw it was safe, I opened the entrance to the subspace. And just as I expected, my sister's face was a picture of pure shock. She looked just like Xianxia and his family did. But this wasn't the time to be standing around in awe. The priority was treating the soldier. After my sister examined him, she concluded that he was probably a lost cause. At least, he would have been for the old her. You see, my sister had also awakened her own ability, and it was the extremely rare power of a healer. However, the patient's condition had been left untreated for a long time, so even with her powers, she could only provide basic treatment. Still, it was enough to save his life. After she finished the treatment, I told her everything that had happened over the past few months. But she didn't seem to be listening. All she could think about was the delicious food. But it didn't matter whether she was listening or not. After all, I'd already found sister number 1. The next step was just to go to Yuljiro and find sister number 2. But I had barely finished speaking when my sister rejected my proposal. That left me confused. Are there too many patients? I asked. My sister replied, that's not it. Although there are many patients, the hospital has more than enough nurses. The main reason is the head of the internal medicine department. He's awakened an ability that allows him to control people. If I leave, there will be no one left to stand up to him. The hospital will descend into chaos. So, Jung Guillaume, you should go find the others first. I'll do my best to survive here. I decisively rejected sister number 1's suggestion, and told her I would take care of everything. There was no time to waste. I immediately went and found the dangerous man my sister had mentioned, Song Hyeon-ji-yu, who was being controlled by the department head. You must be Nurse Kim Ju-Yeon's little brother. Come outside and have a chat with me. Seeing his massive frame, I couldn't help but shiver. But a fight between us was inevitable, so I went outside with him. Song Hyeon-ji-yu gave me 2 choices. First, drink this bottle of medicine, and be controlled by the department head. The second choice is to refuse the medicine, and be strangled to death by him right here. Of course, I wasn't going to choose either of those. I'm choosing a third option, and that is to trap you right here. Hearing this, Song Hyeon-gu's expression suddenly changed. Then, in a flash, he rushed in front of me, but was blocked by my subspace barrier. What followed was a professional spinning bowling ball coming in at 90 miles an hour. To my surprise, the guy actually took the hit head on. And he was completely unscathed. Since that was the case, I immediately changed tactics and used dumbbell plates to trap him. But this guy's strength was absolutely terrifying. He actually managed to lift something that weighed tens of thousands of pounds. But I wasn't about to give him a chance to counterattack. I immediately used my retrieval skill to take everything back, then released the dumbbell plates again to trap him completely. After all that, I returned to the hospital, ready to put an end to this. But then, Xianxia came stumbling over. It looked like a symptom of poisoning. In an instant, sister number 1 noticed the bloody spot on Xianxia's hand. This was done on purpose. At this point, I couldn't worry about anything else. I quickly had Xianxia enter the subspace to rest. The moment Xianxia stepped into the subspace, system prompt popped up, unknown energy blocking the apostle from entering the subspace. At the same time, Xianxia said he couldn't feel the pain in his head anymore. That's when it hit me. So that's how it works. So that's what the unknown energy was referring to. In that case, this will be easy. I immediately went to find Song Hyeon-ji-yu again and pulled him into my subspace. Just as I expected, the moment Song Hyeon-ji-yu entered, his consciousness returned. After that, we took him to see his mother. After the visit, he headed straight for the department head's office without a second glance back. As for the result, well, you can imagine. The department head died on the spot, and everyone who was under his control finally regained consciousness. At first, I was a little curious how they all recovered so suddenly. But when I saw Song Hyong-ju covered in blood, I understood everything completely. As soon as he saw me, Song Hyong-ju gave me a deep bow to express his utmost respect. After he finished thanking me, he suggested that I stay, but I could only refuse apologetically. After all, I still hadn't reunited with my family. Hearing this, Song Hyong-ju could only helplessly wish me a speedy reunion with my family. The next day, I left a lot of supplies for everyone at the hospital. I trust that Song Hyong-ju will be able to take good care of everyone. After doing all this, we left the hospital and once again set off on our long journey to find our family. Before we left, Song Hyong-ju also shared some intel with me. A giant wall had appeared between Yuljiro and Namsan. The wall had suddenly erupted from the ground, and what's more, it was still growing. By now, it's probably taller than an ordinary skyscraper. This was certainly troubling. Based on that, trying to pass through on the ground probably isn't realistic. Brute force likely wouldn't work either. In addition to that, Song Hyong-ju provided another piece of intel. The most common type of monster in Yuljiro is the skeleton, commonly known as the undead. This really started to worry me. Undying monsters in a giant wall. It seems Yuljiro is a really dangerous place. Although sister number 2 is over in Yuljiro, I'm not the least bit worried. I feel that even if she hasn't awakened, she could probably smash monsters to bits with her bare hands. Just then, a message popped up from the system. It seemed to be from sister number 1. So, I opened the subspace gate to ask what was going on. What else could it be? The soldier you rescued is awake. This caught me a bit off guard. I hurried into the subspace to check. I saw the soldier giving a solemn bow of thanks. Thank you so much for saving me. I'm from the Military Communications Command's 50th Intelligence and Communications Brigade. Lieutenant Colonel Han Jiang-ho. Can you please tell me where this is? I think I saw the command headquarters around here. Faced with a soldier dedicated to protecting his country, I didn't hide anything. This is the employee lounge of the PAX FC Logistics Center. This subspace is one of my abilities. Han Jiang-ho looked completely bewildered. He didn't quite understand what I was saying, so sister number 1 simply summarized it for him. This entire space is formed by his ability, and our actual location right now is Gangnam. I see. After that explanation, Han Jiang-ho got the gist of the situation. Excuse me, can you let me out here by myself? I must hurry back to headquarters to report, or something bad is going to happen. I completely understood. After all, I've served in the army before. But I don't plan on letting you go that easily. You have to finish eating this first. Only after you explain the situation can you go. As a soldier, Han Jiang-ho had the principle of never leaking secrets drilled into his very core, unless he met someone like me who could bring out a mountain of delicious food. One day, all across the globe, there was a sudden appearance. Many things from another world. And by things from another world, I don't just mean monsters, but also insects, animals, and plants. Even geographical features like mountains. Those otherworldly life forms would attack everything in sight. It wasn't just humans and animals. Even the otherworldly life forms would fight among themselves. While we were fighting the monsters, we began to gather the awakened. We then formed these awakened into new military units. The units composed of the awakened were able to quickly annihilate the monsters. My former unit, along with the nearby Guaxian and Anyang, looked like they were about to return to their former peace. But then, a problem arose after that thing appeared. Whether it was bullets, grenades, or artillery shells, none of them had any effect on that dragon, although we requested support from the military command and the surrounding armies. Several times, Guaxian and Anyang, because of the powerful monsters, had already fallen just like us. We never heard back from the military command. I thought it was strange at the time, because even while fighting the monsters, we could still contact Anyang and Guaxian, but we couldn't get through to the military command. In the end, we had no choice but to order a retreat and head to the military command to see what was going on. But with the monsters in hot pursuit, many of my comrades were either killed or injured. So, as we were on the move, we gathered awakeners to fight alongside us. And just like that, we successfully arrived at the military command. But the place was deserted. It didn't take us long to find out why. After going through a large number of the military command's documents, we discovered they were attempting a rebellion. I wanted to return to the Joint Chiefs of Staff after that, but I was trapped by the dragon that had been chasing us. To make matters worse, the awakeners we had gathered earlier took the opportunity to kill the soldiers and occupy the military command. I believe the First Corps is recruiting right now. The commander of the military command has turned traitor, so I have to get back and report this as soon as possible. After listening to Han Jiang-ho, I pretty much understood the whole situation. So I told him not to worry, that I would definitely get him back there. With that said, Yang-su and I set off at once, hoping we could make it there by the end of the day. Along the way, we ran into quite a few orcs. But I took care of all of them with ease, which made Han Jiangho realize just how strong I was. In addition to that, there was Yang Su, who was driving. He actually managed to get from Gangnam to the Banpo Bridge in just 1 hour. They're really incredible ability users. If only they would join our army. About another 10 minutes later, we successfully brought Han Jiangho to his destination. As we were leaving, Han Jiangho asked with a glimmer of hope if we wanted to join their army, offering a generous reward of magic stones. And military support as well. Even though the reward was very generous, I still refused. After all I want right now is to be reunited with my family. Besides, as for magic stones, we can get those ourselves. But the Joint Chiefs of Staff should have a plane or two, right? Han Jiangho looked a bit confused. But headquarters did indeed have a plane or two, so Han Jiangho went to negotiate with the Chief of Staff. He not only told him about the first corpse betrayal but also about the strength of our group. So the next round of negotiations was a bit easier. The Chief of Staff immediately proposed that if I joined the army, I could borrow a helicopter. I immediately shook my head. After all, personal gain isn't that important right now. What if I can just break through that wall with brute force? After I refused, I said my goodbyes and was about to leave by car, which sent the Chief of Staff and the other man into a panic. That wasn't what they really wanted. They actually had something they needed my help with. So this time, he adopted a more humble attitude. He laid out a second plan. If we completed it successfully, we could borrow the helicopter. The mission was mainly to clear out skeletons. And so, rescuing the besieged Awakened training base. That mission would definitely be tough for other people. After all, there were tons of those skeletons, and if you don't destroy their cores, they can just revive. But for me, it seemed pretty easy. The moment my dumbbells, weighing tens of thousands of pounds, touched the skeletons, they just shattered into pieces. So, the Awakened who were trapped here were saved, and the mission was considered complete. However, on the way back, we ran into another skeleton. But unlike the others, this one had an extraordinary aura. It was even wearing a suit of exquisite armor, looking just like a knight. Then, I saw the skeleton knight before me crush a magic stone and slowly begin to speak. It is a pleasure to meet you, person from another world. I am Gwyn, one of the 12 knights who serve the Night King. The sudden voice caught me a little off guard. I never expected magic stones could be used like that. But I wasn't in the mood to chat. I immediately launched a few fused dumbbells his way. But an attack of this level against Gwyn had no effect at all. He cut them all down with a single swing of his sword. Then he charged straight for us. Honestly, that whole sequence left us stunned for a solid 2.5 years. With no time to hesitate, I had no choice but to pull out my trump card early. That's right, my trump card is the skill, homing delivery. It can accurately hit a marked location. But it seemed like the dumbbells were useless against Gwyn. Even though they pack a punch, they're also huge. So, I decisively changed the delivery item, using smaller bowling balls for the tracking. And it was just as I predicted. Gwyn couldn't defend against the high-speed bowling balls. Soon, he was beaten to the point of begging for mercy. But why would I listen to a monster ramble on? By the time I launched the fused dumbbell, Gwyn had no strength left to resist. He could only watch helplessly as he was smashed to smithereens. On the verge of death, Gwyn gave a strange smile. Sorcerer, you are indeed powerful, but don't think this is the end. We are the undead. Everything is for the Night King. After saying that, Gwyn vanished completely, turning into one red magic stone and 2 larger, blue magic stones. I learned from Parks that the red one is called an enhancement stone. Blue ones are called large magic stone fragments. For now, I have no idea what they're used for. I'll just have to look into that later. As for what's next, of course, it was time to bask in the cheers of victory. A long while later, we returned to headquarters. The director said the same thing he always does. He wants us to join them. And I gave him the same answer I always do. Not until I find my family. Seeing how determined I was, the director didn't press the issue. Instead, he led me upstairs to fulfill his promise. Not long after, a beat-up, old helicopter appeared right in front of us. By the looks of it, it should still be flyable, right? It looked really old and worn, but as long as it could take off. Before I could think any more about it, the director raised his hand to stop me and pointed off to the side. I instinctively turned my head to look. And then I saw a magnificent helicopter standing there. It looked absolutely majestic and powerful. No wonder the director was so proud. This thing is so impressive that even a layman like me would applaud it, let alone a pilot like Yang Su. Right then, he was completely lost in his own joy. The director explained, after all, this is the helicopter we're lending you to. Naturally, we had to pick a good one. I told you before that I'd treat you as allies. And I wasn't just making empty promises. After explaining, he turned his gaze to the incredibly excited Yang Su behind me. You seem quite excited, my friend. It seems you're the pilot, then. Have you ever flown a helicopter before? Yang Su saw no reason to lie. No, I haven't. But this pop-up window says I just need 50 magic stones to fly it. I was wondering when I'd be able to upgrade, but now it looks like My ability doesn't need an upgrade. I just have to register the vehicle type. The moment he said that, the director immediately realized we needed magic stones. So, he turned, walked over to the helicopter, and pulled out a pile of magic stones from inside. There were a few hundred of them. These 200 magic stones are a gift from our entire team to you both. We originally wanted it to be a surprise, but it seems it's better to give them to you in person. Faced with the kindness of the director and all the soldiers, we felt it would be rude to refuse, so we accepted them. Xianxia said he only needed 50 of the 200, and that I could do whatever I wanted with the rest. With that, he tapped use. But unexpectedly, as soon as he finished, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from him, making the hairs on my arms stand on end. The next second, with tears streaming down my face, I was forced onto this fast and furious aircraft. Then, Xianxia started to show off what real skill looked like. His hands were moving so fast I couldn't even follow them. I couldn't make sense of it anyway, so I just decided to check the items I'd recently acquired. I had 2 large magic stones and an enhancement stone. According to Parks, 1 large magic stone is equivalent to 200 regular ones. I didn't hesitate. I exchanged them right away, bringing my magic stone count to 1,393. To prepare for any future emergencies, I decisively clicked upgrade. After all, it's always good to have an ace up your sleeve. Next up was the enhancement stone. Its attribute was fire, and its abilities were penetration and ignite. It looked pretty good, so I chose to apply the enhancement to my bowling ball. It had proven to be a pretty powerful weapon for me before. Once the enhancement was complete, Xianxia had also finished his preparations. After saying goodbye to the director, we continued our journey to find our relatives. Coincidentally, the system had just finished upgrading. I gained a few new functions, one of which was a registration system similar to Xianxia's ability. By spending magic stones, I could record items. But unlike Xianxia, once I successfully registered an item into my subspace, I could duplicate it infinitely. So, I used my subspace to duplicate a Black Hawk helicopter and gave it back to the director. After all that was done, we made our stylish exit. We left the director standing there, completely dumbfounded. Not long after, we flew the Black Hawk to the area inside that massive wall. As soon as we entered, the first thing we saw was a skeleton knight fighting someone. The person fighting it was terrifyingly strong. They sent the skeleton knight flying back with a single punch. This made Xianxia gasp in amazement, but I wasn't surprised in the least. Because that person was none other than my sister number 2, the total brute. My second older sister, Kim Sol. She loved watching TV ever since she was a kid. One time, she happened to see a mixed martial arts match on TV, and after that, she became obsessed with fighting. And, as luck would have it, she had a younger brother who loved to play with her. So, you can imagine how the rest of my days went. Although Kim Sol won, she didn't feel very happy about it. Because this kind of victory, gained by defeating someone weaker, wasn't what she wanted. So, in search of stronger opponents, Kim Sol went to the playground. She defeated countless kids who were several years older than her. Because of this, our dad discovered her talent and sent her to train in mixed martial arts. There, Kim Sol tasted defeat for the very first time. I thought she would finally learn that there's always someone stronger out there. But her intense desire to win and her natural physical gifts made her train day and night. Eventually, she mastered various martial arts and won numerous awards. During her school years, it got to the point where she couldn't find an opponent in her own weight class. She had truly become unbeatable. However, her body soon couldn't handle the high intensity of her training. It ended with her tearing all the ligaments in both of her knees. I thought she would stop then and focus on recovering. But this girl, complaining that her leg was taking too long to heal, started training again. As a result, before her old injuries could even heal, she'd just get new ones. That's why her professional fighting debut was delayed for several years. Otherwise, with her skill, she would have reached the top long ago. Meanwhile, the battle between the two continued. Only this time, the Skull Knight didn't rush to attack. Instead, he started complimenting Kim Sol. But before she could even say anything, a flaming bowling ball hit it squarely in the head. Its body disintegrated. This move honestly left my second sister stunned. She thought to herself how an opponent that even she couldn't easily defeat was just shattered by a bowling ball. But before she could think too much, we slowly landed our helicopter on the ground. At first, she thought it was the military, but when she got a clear look and saw it was me, she let her guard down and looked surprised. I didn't say much. I just brought her directly into the subspace to reunite with our eldest sister. From my second sister, I learned several clues. First, the ability my second sister awakened is a barrier-like shield that can strengthen her body when it's active. Second, the canopy of this city wall seems like it's about to close. If it successfully closes, no one knows what will happen. And there's only one way to stop all of this from happening. Kill the Night King. Now that we had this vital information, Xianxia immediately took off in the helicopter at full speed. But just as we found the Night King's exact location, I nearly lost my life. It wasn't an attack, it was the flying speed that nearly did me in. But at this point, since we'd already found the enemy's lair, I couldn't worry about that anymore and resolutely opened the gate. As soon as the gate opened, a Batman-like creature came flying right at us. My second sister sent it flying with a single punch, but it wasn't over. We took one down, but then its entire family tree, along with all its friends and relatives, showed up. The scene was pretty terrifying. However, this only fired up my second sister's fighting spirit. She suddenly accelerated and charged right into the swarm of bats. She's basically taking out these small fries with a single punch. It's gotten to the point where I don't even know how to jump in. Besides, if I accidentally hurt second sister, it just wouldn't be worth it. Just then, I suddenly remembered I still have my subspace laboratory. That's it, my subspace. If I don't have a decent weapon. The Shin Maintenance System's extra-large electronic bug zapper burst onto the scene. Rarity, rare, attribute, electric, special ability, pierce, electric shock, launch. The results were unbelievably good. This, of course, made my sister extremely unhappy. She came stomping toward me, fuming. Meanwhile, a red skull was hiding in the shadows. It reported everything it had just seen to the Night King. This gave the Night King a huge headache. He decided to summon the Purple Skull. The Purple Skull was a bit worried. Master, if we summon a tier 7 on Earth, the council above will definitely not let it go once they find out. The Night King felt helpless as well. But there's no other way. The magician is at least tier 8. And even at the same tier, a magician is stronger than me. Not to mention there's another guy whose power is on par with a knight. Hearing this, the Purple Skull could only silently agree. And so, the Night King began the summoning. Come forth, my strongest sword who serves me, Lancelot. Meanwhile, on the other side, to quell my sister's anger, I made a special weapon just for her. Although it wasn't as strong as the electronic bug zapper from before, this one was by no means weak. Now that the weapons were ready, we geared up and pressed onward. Soon, we arrived at the Night King's boss room. Here, there wasn't just the Night King as the boss, but also the newly summoned skeleton knight, Lancelot. The Night King started trash-talking the moment he saw us. Something about arcane and crashing the party. Anyway, we didn't understand a single word. Second sister couldn't be bothered to deal with him. She raised her baseball bat and prepared to charge in. But in the next second, Lancelot attacked in what seemed like an instant. Luckily, second sister's reflexes were just as fast. She blocked the attack. If it had been me, I probably would have been toast. But second sister didn't manage a perfect block. Lancelot's attack actually sliced the electronic bug zapper in two. I mean, that thing was a negative grade rare item. Don't tell me this negative grade is just that bad? Second sister's expression changed. No, it's not that the weapon is too weak. It's that this guy is terrifyingly strong. Found it a little hard to believe, so I immediately threw 3 flaming bowling balls. In what seemed like an instant, those 3 high-speed bowling balls were sliced in half mid-air. This left me completely stunned. You have to understand, up until now, no one had ever been able to dodge, let alone shatter, those high-speed bowling balls. I was just about to tell second sister to be careful, but I never expected her to charge straight in. Then, she landed a precise punch right on Lancelot's head. After connecting, she immediately dropped into a squat. Predicting Lancelot's powerful counterattack, she followed up with a rapid barrage of punches to Lancelot's head. To put it simply, his every move was lethal. But I seized the opportunity and landed a direct hit with a bowling ball. However, the guy was completely unscathed, still holding that powerful stance. Seeing this, my intuition told me that this guy was extremely dangerous. More dangerous than any monster out there. So, I quickly used my skill, Product Recall. I pulled myself and second sister back into the subspace. Second sister was a little confused about what I was doing. She thought I was trying to steal the kill. But the next second, Lancelot teleported into attack. His longsword was only 0.01 meters away from my eye. Good thing I was in the subspace, otherwise I would have been dead for sure. At such a close distance, I once again ordered Pax. I had him use the dispatch skill and aim for its head, but this guy was just terrifying. Even at point-blank range, I still couldn't hit him. At that moment, the Night King, who had been observing for a while, finally understood that I wasn't some kind of magician, but a human with an awakened ability. Hey, you're not a magician, you're a human, aren't you? And you've awakened an ability that lets you copy items. I'm not wrong, am I? Ha ha ha, so that's how it is. Human, do you have any idea what kind of power you've obtained? We should join forces. This 180-degree change in attitude really threw me for a loop. You all are probably still completely confused, right? Let me explain it to you. After you took out those skeleton knights on your way here, you probably got some enhancement stones, right? This castle produces them. To be more precise, this castle is an item called Camelot. Camelot can produce enhancement stones by sacrificing living beings. Enhancement stones can typically be used to strengthen items, thereby increasing their power. For example, if you use them on Camelot, you can summon and command the 7th rank knight, Lancelot, in front of me. as well as the 12 other knights who belonged to Camelot. That piece of information caught my attention. In other words, the outer walls are actually this item called Camelot. Well, that makes things easy. I've finally found the solution to everything. Night King, thank you for the business intel. Pax, put Camelot into the subspace. The Night King was a bit confused. What did you say? And who is Pax? The moment he finished speaking, the entire castle of Camelot vanished in an instant, leaving only a dumbfounded Night King behind. Meanwhile, inside the subspace, I was playing with a very small object. That's right, this object was that very item called Camelot. It was also the outer walls. And it was also the symbol of the master of all the skeleton knights. Your name is Lancelot, right? Can you help me get rid of the Night King? After receiving my command, Lancelot didn't hesitate for a moment. He killed him instantly with a single slash. The Night King fell to the ground, dropping a yellow magic stone. Because Lancelot successfully killed the Night King. As Lancelot's master, Masakane, you will acquire ownership of the Night King's dimensional account. Current account balance, 3,086. This news really came as a shock to both of us. Is this what they call killing someone for their money? Or is it just a windfall from the heavens? It'd be a waste not to take it. I didn't even have a moment to be happy before second sister, standing beside me, spoke with a dark expression. If you have any conscience at all, you'll give me 1,000 magic stones. I'm the benefactor who saved your life, after all. I am truly grateful, but asking for 1,000 magic stones is just shameless, don't you think? Let's both compromise. 500 is the most I can do. Besides, you still need to stay in this subspace. Faced with my despicable behavior, second sister could only nod and bow in fawning agreement. After all, she still wanted to keep eating those feasts. Next, I had to think about what to do with this skeleton knight, Lancelot. The best solution was to do nothing, cause he has now submitted to me. In other words, he poses no danger. I originally thought everyone would be a bit wary, but from the looks of it, I was worrying too much. After playing for a while, Xianxia's daughter seemed a little tired. She fell asleep lying on his back. Well then, it's about time I prepared a place for Lancelot to rest. With that said, I took out the item called Camelot. Its rank is unique. Description: a palace with a total of 3 abilities. The rank is similar to the information provided by the Night King. First, it drains life force from those within it. By appointing knights, it can then generate enhancement stones. As for the third ability, which involves commanding the dead, it's quite special. It can actually appoint other undead as knights. There's also its exclusive description. Its size can be freely adjusted, but it requires a corresponding fee. Attribute: this one has me stumped. It doesn't specify the size you get for the magic stones. In that case, I'll just try putting in 300 magic stones to start. The moment I clicked confirm, a huge Camelot appeared before my very eyes. This size should be about right. After finishing all this, I was about to let everyone go rest, but looking at this one person and one skeleton, from their posture, they probably weren't going to sleep. It seemed both sides were interested in each other's techniques. That's good, too. They can strengthen each other. In any case, I was going to sleep. Early the next morning, a helicopter landed squarely in front of us, and the Director General stepped out. His face was lit up with an unreadable smile. Director General, you're not here to persuade me to join you again, are you? Hearing this, the Director General quickly shook his head. I'm here to deliver an important message. You absolutely must not travel by helicopter. The traitorous First Legion has occupied the anti-air base and is shooting down all aircraft passing through the sky. We've tried to sneak in before, but the security there is too tight. Our forces are in a difficult position, but I remembered you said you were going to Weijiangbu, so I came to ask for your help. This news is worse than I expected. If we were just going to Weijiangbu, we could just take a detour through Namyangju. But I have to pass through Dabong district, because my big brother and sister-in-law are still there. The First Legion's influence has now expanded to Dabong district, so a conflict is ultimately unavoidable. What I'm afraid of now is that something terrible has already happened to my family. I can't delay any longer. After thinking it over, I summoned Lancelot and stated that he would assist us. Few days later, I ordered Lancelot to transform into his phantom state, to sneak into Dabong district and scout the enemy. In his phantom state, a knight cannot physically interact with anything. But at the same time, he cannot be physically interfered with either. In other words, transforming into a phantom is the best way to scout an enemy camp. Therefore, we decided to have Lancelot first determine the scale of the enemy's forces and the location of their anti-aircraft guns. Then we'll formulate a battle plan. This reconnaissance mission took a total of 2.5 hours and brought back quite a bit of. The news was startling. First, the soldiers of the First Legion had almost all been turned into goblins. Second, they were using people as sacrifices, keeping them in cages. As for why they needed sacrifices, it was probably because they wanted to gain power euro, or what's known as a rank. The lower the rank number, the stronger the power they possess. For example, a rank 9's attack can't even harm a rank 8. It's just that, attaining a rank through sacrifices is a method used instinctively by low-intelligence lifeforms. This method often involves contacting a high-rank being and making a deal with it. I see. It seems this scum can't even be considered human anymore. Then let's start making a plan. That's what I said, but although we already knew the location of the enemy's anti-air cannons, the moment we attacked, the enemy would surely notice. Lancelot saw my dilemma and suggested summoning another knight. I thought that made sense, so I asked if he had anyone to recommend. Lancelot didn't hesitate. The name came to him almost instantly. I suggest summoning Bedivere. He is an unparalleled genius skilled in long-range attacks. However, Bedivere only has one arm, which made me a bit curious. How could he shoot a bow with one arm? So, Lancelot began to tell me Bedivere's story. Bedivere was once the star of the Archery Knight Order, but the commander, who was jealous of his talent, cut off one of his arms. But he didn't give up. Instead, he found another way to replace the bow and arrow: stone throwing. Through training day and night, he eventually became one of the 12 Knights of Camelot. Don't be fooled by his single arm. His strength ranks among the top, even among us. Despite him saying that, I was still a little skeptical at first. Until the next day, when I witnessed his combat with my own eyes. His destructive power and precision were terrifying, and the speed of his throws was incredibly fast. Before long, Bedivere gave the signal that all anti-air cannons had been destroyed. He's truly terrifying. No wonder Lancelot is so confident in his order of knights. They certainly have the right to be arrogant. But there's no time to dwell on that. It's time for our counterattack. Meanwhile, Lancelot successfully found the enemy commander, and began torturing him for information. It's just that this commander seemed to be quite tough. After being brutally tortured, he still had the strength to jump out the window and escape. But so what? The few of us had been waiting outside for a long time. When the commander saw the situation was hopeless, he decisively killed his own comrades, devouring all their magic stones, flesh, and blood. He did this to evolve himself to rank 8, hoping to stand a fighting chance. However, for trash like him, there was no need for the rank 7 Lancelot to even make a move. The rank 8 Bedivere could kill him in an instant. Ding! Acquired 312 magic stones. Current magic stones: 3,542. After everything was taken care of, the division commander arrived with his soldiers as support. He then saw the brigade commander on the ground, who had turned into a goblin. I took the opportunity to ask Lancelot if he'd managed to torture any information out of him. I'm sorry, I only found out that the high-rank being they were in contact with is called Xianxia. Just then, the division commander reminded me that there might be clues in the office. So, I had Parks help sort through them. After some time, it cost 120 magic stones to decipher it, which wasn't too bad. I gritted my teeth and paid up. After some more time had passed, Pax alerted me that among the data, there were 2 types of items that couldn't be saved. That was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think there'd be things that couldn't be classified, so I just had Pax bring it over. It was a paper titled Dimensional Existence Registration Application. Lancelot said it was a document that could raise my rank. The one with the clear handwriting was the official document. The messily scribbled one was an attempt to use a shortcut to get officially registered. Just like it said on the document, you need magic stones and a dimensional account. And you, my lord, happen to meet the conditions. Would you like to apply? I did want to apply, but this thing actually costs 1,000 magic stones. That's an incredible deal. 1,000 magic stones to ascend to the 8th rank. The moment I signed my name, the official document bizarrely vanished. Is that it? I don't really feel any different. Meanwhile, outside, a goblin on patrol was riding a dirt bike back to camp, only to be greeted by rows of dead bodies. And this happened to be spotted by the sharp-eyed Bedivere. Elsewhere, we learned from the intel that the Island Peak district had been taken by the rebels. So we can't delay any longer. We have to set out immediately. It's pretty dangerous outside now, so I decided I'll be the one to drive. But now we have a problem. Our only vehicles are military grade. There's no way to hide our identities in those. Looks like we'll have to start on electric bikes and look for another vehicle along the way. Just as I was thinking that, Bedivere actually showed up in front of me on a dirt bike. Talk about a stroke of luck. You can't stop it when it's coming your way. Just in case, I spent 22 magic stones to classify it as a military asset. 100. Alright, no time to waste. We immediately hopped on the bike and started tearing up the streets. Whenever we ran into goblins, Bedivere would attack by throwing bowling balls. And if any slipped through the cracks, Lancelot would finish them off. Just like that, we fought our way through every obstacle. We finally made it to my big brother and sister-in-law's place. But I knocked on the door over and over, and there was no response. My heart was filled with a sense of unease.